Kyle Busch is NASCAR. He was one of a kind, and there will never be another.
There are few names in modern motorsport that spark as much emotion, debate, and respect as Kyle Busch. In the world of NASCAR, where legends are built through speed, precision, and fearless competition, Busch carved out a place that very few drivers ever reach. Whether admired or criticized, one thing has always been undeniable. When Kyle Busch is on the track, the entire race changes. From the earliest days of his career, it was clear that he was not an ordinary driver. He entered NASCAR with a level of intensity that immediately separated him from his peers. While many drivers take years to adapt to the pressure of top-tier racing, Busch seemed to thrive in it. Every lap, every turn, every decision behind the wheel reflected a mindset built entirely around winning. As he rose through the ranks, Kyle Busch became a central figure in the modern era of NASCAR. Driving for elite teams and competing against some of the strongest fields in racing history, he quickly developed a reputation as one of the most complete drivers the sport had ever seen. He was not limited to one type of track or one style of racing. He adapted, evolved, and dominated across multiple formats. Throughout his career, Busch achieved success across the NASCAR Cup Series and Xfinity Series, building a record that placed him among the most statistically impressive drivers in the sport. His ability to win in different cars, under different conditions, against different generations of drivers, made him a rare talent in motorsport history. One of the defining traits of Kyle Busch's career has always been his competitiveness. He is known for pushing every limit of the car, of the track, and of the race itself. That competitive edge created unforgettable moments, both victorious and controversial. But in many ways, that is what made his story so compelling. He was never a driver who blended into the background. He was always in the center of the action. Over the years, Busch developed rivalries that became legendary in NASCAR culture. These rivalries were not just about racing positions. They were about pride, personality, and pressure. Every time he entered the track, there was a sense that something unpredictable could happen. Fans either tuned in to support him or to see how the race would unfold because of him. That kind of presence is rare in sports. As his career matured, Kyle Busch transitioned from being the aggressive young driver to a more experienced competitor who understood the long game of racing. While his intensity never faded, his perspective evolved. He became more aware of strategy, consistency, and the importance of adapting to a changing NASCAR landscape. His success in the NASCAR Cup Series cemented his reputation as one of the defining figures of his generation. Championships, race wins, and record-breaking performances built a legacy that will be studied long after his retirement from the sport. But Busch's story is not just about numbers, it is about emotion. Because in NASCAR, emotion is everything. The roar of the engine, the pressure of the final lap, the split-second decisions that decide victory or defeat, these are the moments that define a driver's legacy. And Kyle Busch has lived through all of them at the highest level. Fans remember the moments where he dominated races with precision that felt almost effortless. They also remember the moments of frustration, the setbacks, and the intense reactions that showed just how much the sport meant to him. In every situation, Busch wore his passion openly. That honesty is part of why his legacy continues to grow. Even in difficult seasons, Busch remained a central figure in the sport. He was never a driver who faded quietly. He adapted, rebuilt, and continued to compete at a level that demanded respect from both fans and fellow drivers. Younger racers entering NASCAR often looked at Busch not just as a competitor, but as a benchmark, a standard of what it means to compete at the highest level. His influence extends beyond the track as well. Kyle Busch helped shape modern NASCAR culture, from driving style to competitive mentality. Many of today's drivers grew up watching his races, studying his moves, and learning from his approach to competition. There is also a human side to his journey that fans often overlook. Behind the helmet is a driver who has dealt with pressure, expectations, and the constant demand to perform in one of the most competitive sports in the world. The mental strength required to sustain a career like his is often underestimated. Through highs and lows, victories and disappointments, Busch has remained one of the most recognizable figures in American motorsport. As fans look back at his journey, they don't just see a driver, they see an era of racing defined by intensity, passion, and unpredictability. They see a competitor who refused to step aside, who fought for every position, and who left everything on the track. That is what creates legacy in NASCAR. It is not just about winning races. It is about shaping how races are remembered. Kyle Busch's impact on the sport is permanent. His name is etched into NASCAR history not only through championships and victories, but through the emotion he brought to every race weekend. Whether he was leading the pack or fighting through the field, he made every moment feel important. Even as the sport continues to evolve, his influence remains visible. New drivers enter with styles inspired by his aggression and precision. Fans continue to debate his greatest moments. Analysts continue to reference his performances in discussions about all-time greatness. That is the mark of a true racing icon. As we reflect on his career, it becomes clear that Kyle Busch represents more than just success on the track. He represents dedication, competitiveness, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. His journey is a reminder that greatness in motorsport is not just measured in trophies, but in impact. And whether you cheered for him or against him, one truth remains. NASCAR is different because Kyle Busch was part of it. His story is not just a career timeline. It is an era of racing that will be remembered for decades. And as that era continues to be replayed, studied, and celebrated, one thing is certain. Kyle Busch's legacy is already written in racing history.